did you have some doubters? Did you have a lot of supporters? What helped you kind of get through that decision and really get your career going?
So I don't tend to listen to a lot of noise. Um, it's probably a personality trait of mine. I don't like the chatter and the noise. I've never really put a lot of stake into what other people's opinions are. My mindset is if I don't want to trade places with you, I'm probably not going to listen to your advice. Um, I mean, doubters, yes, my own family. My dad's like, Rach, just keep your 9 to 5. You have healthcare, you have benefits. Just why don't you start part time? And I'm not a part time person. I'm not a halfway person. I'm like all or nothing.
Yeah.
Um, that's just who I am. And so, yeah, there's that chatter. And I was like, well, all right, you're fine. Like, we're just going to move that aside. We're going to dive in. And I always joke, I'm like, what is the worst thing that could happen? I'm 25 years old. I'm changing careers. I'm betting on myself. I'm untethered. What's the worst that can happen? I fail and I go back to corporate America and just do what everybody else is doing, which was what everybody expected me to do in the first place. Or what if I don't fail? What if I succeed? Then what? What could my life be like?
How did you come up with that mentality, that mindset? Uh, Did you always just have like that type of, you know, I don't want to say no shits given, but it's almost like that in the sense of like, blocking out the noise. I'm going to do me
Mm-hmm.
and I'm going to bet on myself because I think that paralyzes a lot of people,
Yeah.
right? We're concerned about other people's opinions. We're concerned about whether or not we fail at something.
Yeah.
How did you just grow up always that way or did you learn it?
Yeah, I think I've always been this way. I don't know if it's having a lot of responsibility as a young kid. Um, I don't know what it is. I've always been this way. I've always had a very close knit group. Um, I always describe myself like I never fit into a clique. I was always friends with who I liked, regardless of what sports they played or what they wore. I don't know. Growing up, all those influences.
Yeah.
Um, I was never a part of like the girl clique. I didn't have 10 girlfriends that we chatterboxed. I just was like, this is what I'm into. This is what I like. These are the people I like, and this is what I'm doing. And sometimes that worked, and sometimes there was resistance as you grow up. But that's just how I've always been. I don't know. I think when you grow up in a family with multiple siblings, you worry less about what's going on outside and more about what's happening inside.
Yeah.
So I just didn't create a lot of space for it.
That's cool. No, that's awesome. Like I said, I know, so many people, and I'm sure we're all human, right? There's always those little self doubts and, things
Oh,
along those lines.
absolutely.
But it's always like, we got to get it perfect before we execute, or we got to get it perfect before we even start. And, I was the same way on a lot of things like that. Right. And, it's just
Yeah.
action, just do, just
Well,
do.
and I mean, to be honest, I had no sales background.
Right.
No sales background. I came into real estate and I was like, all right, I'm here for work. What do I do?
Yeah.
My team lead's like, I don't know. Here's the stack of cold leads. Go call those people. I'm like, okay. Like, I just was doing what I was told. And then I went to Bold. So I spent about 6 months not even knowing what my job was.
Wow.
And I think it's important to know because if you look at the success we've had, especially the last couple of years while the market was on fire, um, the numbers are great. It looks great. But I think knowing where you started and relating to like a new agent that's just getting started. So when I started, I dove in head feet or what is it? Feet first, head first, whatever it is, in June of 2015. No idea what I was doing. Showed up to the office like I was working a corporate job, was waiting for someone to tell me what to do. I did not have my first closing until October. So I think it's important to know that. I didn't just show up and like rock start out. I had no idea what I was doing, but I was building. I was in every open house. I would call anybody. I did what they said. I know a lot of new agents have resistance about calling their sphere or talking to the people they know. I called everybody. I don't have a lot of shame. So I called everybody and I said, this is what I'm doing. This is who I am. Um, this is my career change. And I just stayed in communication with them. And while I was doing that, not knowing how that would build my future business or seeing the results of that, it was kind of detached at that point. I was just running with any opportunity that I could. And this was 2015, so the market was a little bit different.
Right.
Houses were on the market a lot longer. Buyers would take a lot longer. The sales cycle was a lot longer. Um, and so my first closing, this is funny, it was a relocation deal. It was for $157,000. I think I showed her like 40 houses in a weekend. That's how many homes we had on the market, right?
You miss those days?
Yes, that's fun. I'm like, if you can do that, you can do anything.
2 hour showing windows.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. It was great. And her and her mom came into town. We picked a house that weekend. It was $157,000. By the time you paid the 45% referral to the relocation company, and nobody else on the team wanted it. I was
Right.
new. I'll take anything. And then we brought, by the time the team split, cap, royalty, whatever, I got $667. And I was so excited.
Yeah.
I was so excited. It was my first check. You know?
Heck yeah. I love hearing stories like that because, back to sacrifice, right? Like, you were willing to take the sacrifice of the time, the effort,
Yeah.
the energy just to learn it. It wasn't the check. It wasn't
Yeah.
the money,
Mm-mm.
and it was, I got my first deal, my first
Yeah.
experience,
I've always had the mantra, money is the byproduct of the service I provide.
Yeah.
It's never the reason.
Yeah. That's all. I love that. That's awesome. Yeah. Like my first deal was, I think, $43,500 a house in Whitehall.
That would have been fantastic.
I think by the time I got done with mine, it was like
Yeah.
$300,
Which is okay. It's fine. That's how you learn. And people always ask me, what did you do to get started? I just said yes to everything. Want to sell land? Yes.
100%.
Want to sell a manufactured house? Yes. Want to buy this? Yes. Whatever. Yes. I'll figure it out.
100%. I was talking to an agent the other day, and he wants to get into commercial.
Okay.
I was like, look, I'm not really the person to advise you because that's a whole different ball game and
Yep.
not my thing. But I said, look, free has a currency. So if I were you, I would be reaching out to every single commercial agent and saying, what do you need me to do? And I will do it for free. Because free has a currency. Like you said yes to everything. It didn't matter what it was. Yes, yes, yes.
Yes.
And I think sometimes people are like, I don't want to do that. Like, I don't want to drive across town to do that showing. I don't want to, fill in for you on this or that.
Well, I couldn't afford not to.
Right.
I could not afford not to.
Yeah.
And the ego that we think we have when you're in a 1099 position, you better put that right away. Because it's who you need to become. And you have, again, what's your sacrifice? Are you paying your dues? This industry knows.
Yeah.
And it's going to reward you accordingly.
Yeah.